And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. It's Jay and Gerald coming to you live. That's right, it's live. And we are going to be talking about more shocking headlines. Everybody loves to listen to shocking stuff, don't they, Gerald?
Sure. That's why we used to do Shock Jock morning radio with sports. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and we've
Got to go
got some
against
good
Howard
stuff.
Stern and Don Imus back in the 80s and the 90s.
Oh yeah. So, Gerald, are you all rearing and ready to go? And we have a Grady tip for you today that you will love. Let's do this.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Boom. Booyah. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. It's Jay and Gerald coming to you live. If you are just joining us, you can listen to us on the autoauthorities.com. Just go to the autoauthorities.com and you can go to Pandora, you can go to iTunes, you can go to Google Podcasts. But if you want to watch us live, you can go to the Facebook group page, the Auto Authorities Podcast. You can click the join group button and you can join this unbelievable community, worldwide community, might I add. And if you want to just watch us recorded, you go to the YouTube page, the Auto Authorities Podcast, and you can watch us recorded, and you can leave us comments because we have some amazing information today. We're going to talk about more shocking headlines, and they just keep coming out, don't they, Gerald?
Yeah, I mean, here in the last week or two, you've seen that the average new car price, the average used car price, the highest it's ever been. And it's not changing anytime soon because KBB put out a report. They estimate that there are day to day from today versus 5 years ago, 8.1 million less cars available for sale. So, hey, basic economics, right? What happens when supply is high? Prices go
Down.
low. When supply is low, prices go high. And that's what we're seeing right now. And it's going to be that way for a while. Yeah, because I mean, heck, the average new car up and over $53,000. And just simple math, that's $1,060 a month payment. So you're thinking, hey, I'll buy a used car. I'll save money, right? The average used car last month, almost $31,000. That's going to be hard to take, right? And here's just some other numbers too, because you're thinking, oh man, well, it should be fixed, right? Everything's open. It's going to be okay. No, not yet. Used car inventories across the country. This is everything listed. If you go to autotradercars.com, anywhere where you try to shop online, the total number of used cars for sale in the country actually dropped to 1.762 million units. It sounds like a lot, but that's everybody in the country. That's every dealer. That's CarMax. That's Carvana. That's the little used car shack on the side of the highway. That's everybody. And it's going down. It's not going up. We're getting into the busy time of the year. That means those prices are going to keep going up. They were up 1.3% since the start of April. And this is according to Zero Sum. They're an automotive analytics company. Your average used car in America now is $31,215. It wasn't that long ago. In 2018, do you know what the average used car cost, Jay?
$20,000.
Pretty darn close. It was $19,600.
Yeah.
So since COVID, you are up over $12,000. That means the used car, if you're a grandparent, you're looking to buy a car for your your grandkid who just graduated high school, you may well be thinking, hey, I'll get him a nice car for $12,000. No, that's how much the price has gone up since 2019. It's gone up $12,000.
Yeah.
A car that you'd find for $12,000, unless you get really lucky and you find an individual selling it who just wants somebody to have a nice car and isn't super concerned about making the market price on it, you're not going to get much of a car for 12 grand right now.
No. And I get calls literally at least 3 to 5 times a week looking for a car for the teenager. Like, oh, I want a $5,000 car. I want a $3,000 car. I want a $6,000 car. We're not hearing I want a $15,000 car even for a teenager. And people have to realize, like, the market has skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
And the cars that are not, I call them recession-proof cars. The recession-proof cars are the cars 10 grand and under. Good luck on
Yeah.
finding them, though.
What do you think's happening? Do you think people are just keeping them? Because you talk to more car buyers and more owners than I do. I'm talking more to like dealerships and managers and service departments. Are customers just keeping a hold of those cars? Because you would think there should be a bunch of 2012s, 2013s, 2014s with like 75, 80,000 miles out there, and they're just not there.
And you're spot on. So here's what I see in the market at iAuto Agent is that the people, because of the market is going so high, people are like, I'm just going to go ahead and keep my car and I'm going to fix it. If it breaks, I'll fix it. And that's why these mechanics are so busy, because people are fixing their cars. They're not trading them in anymore. They're holding on to them because they don't want to get into this mess of going to buy a vehicle out there unless they absolutely have to. And then the cars that are under $10,000, they, a lot of them have problems, and we've already experienced taking trade-ins that we
Sure.
have 3 different vehicles that we have to repair that require $3,000 worth of work each, because what's happening is the people that are getting rid of these cars, they're getting rid of them because they already have problems and they're not
Yeah.
telling us. And some of this stuff doesn't show up until you take it in a trade-in, and then you get really, really hammered. And we've gotten hammered on 3 different vehicles. We're getting them fixed, but nobody wants to throw $3,000 into a car. So they're like, oh, just give it to the dealership.
Now, and here, let's take a little bit of a look behind the curtain. Historically, what you were trying to do as a dealership, you want to take the car in at your trade value, figure about $1,800 was the average for years to get a nice car ready to sell on the lot, and then turn around, have it on the lot ready to sell within 7 days. Well, what's happening now, because of just a confluence of events, there's not enough parts, there's not enough cars getting traded in. The average cost to get a used car ready now has jumped up over $3,000, and the time is going out longer because you can't get the parts in for the cars. And a lot of dealerships, they can't get the technicians. There's a huge, huge shortage of technicians. That's going to be a topic for another day. We can do a dirty job style show, a little homage to Mike Rowe, and maybe talk to somebody who's training the techs of the future, because they're going to be needed. But there's a lot of dealerships, they don't have enough used car techs. So even when they get the car, they can't get it onto the lot. So that's part of what you're seeing in that upward trend to pricing. You just added $1,200 of dead money on average to every used car, because instead of taking $1,800 to get a nice car ready for the lot, now it's taking $3,000. So it just keeps spiraling, and you don't really see an end to the inflation coming.
No. And it's very, very challenging right now. And it's, if you have a car and, like, for example, at iAuto Agent, what we do is we'll sell your car for you. We market, we list, we show your car at no cost to you. instead of going to the dealer, they're worth a lot of money with us, and then on the vehicle finder program, it's challenging to go out there to find a good deal on a car. So we work nationwide in finding that vehicle for you. We make sure that the reliability is there. We make sure you get the best price, and then we tee it up and we deal with the dealer for you and do it all. And we're so busy right now, Gerald, is because people don't want and people need cars. They're like, oh, I don't want to go out. It's harder
Yeah.
than ever to go buy a car. And what you do with Dealership Rescue is incredible because, well, I'll let you say, because you make it so the dealers can, they're professional and they do things the right way, and they give people a great experience. What you're doing is incredible.
Yeah, and really just kind of digging into the like a playbook, if you will, like what a football team does. They don't run things because it's just what they do. They make sure they're doing things the right way. Herm Edwards, the old Chiefs and Jets coach, used to say, "Perfect practice makes perfect." But a lot of places practice, they just do what they do because it's what they've always done, and it makes things worse. So you can make small changes and make a huge difference in what's happening. And it's really important now because with the prices of the cars being up so high, everybody's tension is up and your margin for error is so small now because there's less people coming in to shop, there's less cars, but you still have to create the same sale. So it's really creating a bad environment for not just dealers but customers. And something we're seeing more and more often now, lenders are starting to pull back a little bit. This is kind of having vibes to the housing crisis where, if you remember back in 08, in 07, 06, anybody could buy a house, no problem. We'll give you a loan, stated income. Hey, you make 30,000, you want to buy a $500,000 house? Yeah, sure, why not? Well, that didn't work out too well. And maybe the canary in the coal mine, they're starting to pop up now. Check this out from car dealership guy who really has some great insights. You can see him on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on TikTok. How about this? Regional Acceptance Corp, which is one of the biggest subprime auto lenders in the country. That means they target customers with a credit score below 660. And for regional, they go down to about 560. So a pretty good swath of the buying public. Well, they just cut out the majority of their customers. They tapped out. They're done. Independent car dealerships. So that means any car dealership that doesn't have a major brand flag. So Toyota, Chevy, Ford, GM, Mazda, Hyundai, Kia, Mitsubishi. They don't have a brand. They're just an independent dealer. They're gone. Regional's out. They're part of Truist. It's the 7th largest bank in the U.S. That's going to hurt independent car dealers because dealerships are already having trouble placing loans for these cars. The banks now are asking for big money down because they're seeing the bubble about to burst. If you're an independent car dealer, you got a bunch of trucks and SUVs that you own for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Well, you may have just lost your biggest lender. That's going to make it harder to sell the cars. And that's kind of what happened in the housing crisis when Washington Mutual went under. That's a pretty big deal. You're not talking about the little credit union from Alton, Illinois. You're talking about the 7th biggest bank in the country saying, "Hey, we're done, tapping out." That's a big deal.
It is, and there's going to be a lot of independent dealers losing their dealerships because they're not going to have the ability to finance people, and not everybody has a very good credit score.
Yeah.
That people don't have 800 credit scores. It's going to be very, very interesting what happens, and these are some shocking things, and I think it's great for us to let people know about this because it's just gotten way, way harder to buy a car now and to sell cars.
Yeah. So, keeping that in mind, it is a good idea to go ahead if you're getting in the market to buy a car. If you have an account with a local credit union, with Navy Federal, with USAA, or Cap One Loan Navigator, not a bad idea to check it out so you have an idea what you're getting into, because I think a lot of people are going into dealerships right now or reaching out to buy a car independently through people like you, and they have no idea because they haven't been actively shopping. And, heck, probably it's good for us, right? Because people are getting news from online, but getting your news from online and not from real news sources is a problem because you may not know what's going on really. And they may not realize that the average APR for a car loan right now is 7.77. It's not the slot machine. That's your average APR, 7.77. So
Yeah.
you're looking at some pretty big numbers. If you're looking at an average car of 53,000, 7.77, you're talking about a mortgage. You're looking at $1,600 a month for a car loan. Have you ever paid $1,600 a month for a car, Jay?
Absolutely not. In fact, I've been preaching exactly what you said. Like, folks, listen to what Gerald says. Like, don't go in blindly to a dealership and just think, oh, well, if it's a $20,000 car, I should be, on a 5-year loan. It used to be 375 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're in the fours, and depending on what your credit is, you could be in the fives. So,
Solidly,
like,
sure.
you have to be proactive. And Gerald, I've been preaching this since day one of starting this, is that you don't ever want to go blind. You want to know what you qualify for. Don't leave it to the dealership because you may walk away very, very upset.
And that's not saying the dealership did anything wrong. They may be doing everything right, but it's just that misconception. The customer comes in thinking I'm going to pay $400 a month. The dealership tells them it's $625. The knee-jerk reaction is, I'm getting ripped off. These guys are clowns. I got to leave. They may well be telling you the absolute truth and doing everything right. And it's just that disconnect of reality versus what you expected
Yeah,
that leaves you
depending on,
disappointed.
and I think it all comes down to this, Gerald, and this is another thing I've been preaching, is when you're going to the dealership, look at their reviews. Look for patterns in the reviews on, is this a good dealership that I'm working with? Because chances are, if they have really good reviews, chances are they're probably telling you the truth. If they have really crappy reviews, chances are they're probably not telling you the truth.
Yeah,
Regardless, look out for yourself because nobody else is going to look out for you.
true. And in a related note, because I know that iAuto Agent, you guys have access to extended service contracts as well. It would be a good idea to look into the extended service contract because auto repairs are going up too. There's a shortage of parts still. And like I said last week, there's a huge shortage of techs. So you're going to be spending a lot to get a car fixed. The average internal
Mhm.
repair now is up and over $2,400. And that's less than the cost of an extended service contract. So if you get a car with under 150,000 miles and you're out of warranty, good idea to look into it because you can kind of hedge against the inflation a little bit and buy yourself some peace of mind. How would they find out a little bit about the warranties that you guys have available?
Yeah. So, like, we have the warranties that I like to provide, they mirror the factory warranty. They're called exclusionary warranties, and we can talk about those in another episode. But if you just have any questions and you would like to look into purchasing a warranty for your vehicle, just go to the autoauthorities.com. That's the autoauthorities.com. Leave us a message there. Or you can simply go to info@iautoagent.com, info@I like integrity autoagent.com. We'll need the VIN, the miles. We'll have a nice, 10, 15-minute call with you to make sure that we get you in the right policy. And we don't mark them up very much, like I just want people to have them because I truly believe in them. And there are thousands of different companies out there that provide those. And let me tell you, and we can have a whole show about this, They are not created equal, and the companies that we use are phenomenal. They actually pay claims because that's what you want.
Yeah.
You have a piece of paper that says you have a warranty, but guess what? If they don't pay your claim, they don't pay your claim.
Yeah, or if you exclude a part that is a precursor to the repair, usually that's not good. And then, hey, just to kind of, we'll start winding it down here. Just hit in the same theme. Here you go. Here's your average new car price for the month. $50,856. Just keeps going up. That's almost $5,000 more than last year. And if you're looking to buy a new car, hey, if the dealership's saying that they're at MSRP, they're doing you a huge favor because the average car right now is selling for $584 over MSRP, and that number's going up. So it's going to be an interesting time. And hey, just wanted to give you one little piece of ammo. We got our friend Grady, the sales badger here. You're going to the dealership. You want to buy a car. You've been going on Twitter. You've been going on TikTok, and you saw a bunch of sites telling you how to buy a car. Well, most of them are wrong. They're setting Grady up here to be successful because the sales badger's just trying to pin you into a corner. So here's one thing that you definitely shouldn't do that all these sources tell you to do. If you have a vehicle you're trading in, say you have a vehicle you're trading in, because what all the books say to do and what all the sites say to do is negotiate the price down as low as you can, and then let the dealership know you have a trade-in. Well, think about it. You drove in a car. You have an open car loan. The dealership probably has pre-authorization where they can see your credit on a pre-auth, just like a Cap One loan navigator. They know if you have a car loan and you drove in a car, you're probably trading it. So you're setting yourself up to fail. They can give you whatever price, and you still have the big variable sitting out there with the trade-in that they know is coming. You didn't help yourself any in negotiating. All you did is set yourself up to fail. Let the dealership know you have a trade-in, and here's a tip that'll actually help you to get your best trade value. You can go on to Carvana.com and CarMax.com, and you can get a legitimate buy bid on your trade within about a minute and a half. So instead of holding back your trade and hitting it to the dealership at the end that the dealership knows coming anyways and set you up to fail, hit Grady with information. Go to CarMax.com, go to Carvana.com. No fan of theirs, but take their information, which is legitimate, and use it to your advantage. That way, you actually do know what your car is worth. And then you know that they know that you know what they know, and it's going to put you in a better position. So that's this week's tip to help deal with Grady here and be in better position against the sales badger.
I've got one thing to add. One of the things we've been doing is we've noticed that Carvana and CarMax now are offering lower prices than they have in the past. So and especially Carvana. Carvana, in my opinion, is going to go out of business, and then that's a whole nother situation. But
yeah,
their prices that they're offering now are much lower, is what we're seeing. So just be careful of that. So it will give you an idea, but your car might be worth more. That's why you come to Auto Agent.
That's fair. And hey, just to give you one more enemy to deal with, Right Way Auto. If you have them in your city, you'll see them. They're a second chance auto dealer, independent auto dealer. They were up to 5th in the nation by store count, 10th in the nation by volume ending last year. So a little competitor coming in to take on CarMax and Carvana. And, the prices are just way, way too high. And I just want just a little public service advisory. If you see this car salesperson you may want to think twice.
Hey, gang, if you want to get the best value for your buck, you got to go to Finley Mazda. That's Got Garth. Hashtag Got Garth. You know why? Because the $1 Million Man says so. You know why? Because everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Now, in all seriousness, that's the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, WWE Hall of Famer. He was actually doing a promo for a friend of mine, and if you're in the Las Vegas area, you can go see Garth Wall. He is one of the top salespeople in the city. He's at Finley Mazda in Henderson, Nevada. He's our guest this week on Wrestling with Sales, and he is talking about helping people out with sales. There he is with D'Lo Brown, another WWE Hall of Famer. But if you see the $1 Million Man trying to sell you a car, you probably want to avoid it. Just wanted to get that in. You can see that on YouTube on Wrestling with Sales. And Jay, anything else to wrap it up?
No, looking forward to our next episode. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for joining us here on the Auto Authorities. Check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. And please like and subscribe. Look forward to answering your questions and moving forward down the road here on the Auto Authorities podcast. Thanks.
Peace.